Good evening. My name is Pita Sadanandan, and today is the 31st of March 2026. The time is 6:29 p.m. The area of body we would be maintaining health of by the Nirbeeja Yoga style is what I call, well, what I have mentioned on my calendar as Garhapathya. Now, this is the second portion of the abdomen, solar plexus being the first. And now, what are we? Oh, right. That's the third portion. I don't know my own calendar, but the fourth being the intestines. I didn't do one in the morning, so I'm a little lost here. The thing is, I keep making adjustments to my calendar. It's like you discover a new country and then you make adjustments, and the idea is to maintain your countries. Body, our human body being like a country, and different parts of the body require regular maintenance. And we have kind of, we are all human beings on the same planet Earth with the main frame, the basic unit of an alive human being being the head, the neck, the thoracic inlet, the rib cage, the spine, pelvis, skeleton, um, plus or minus limbs, with the muscles and all those different tissues, of course. Alive being this main frame, plus or minus limbs. So, given that we are all in the same planet Earth and our concerns of health, we have also WHO's global list of diseases, which is maintaining human list of diseases. And our concerns are our economy functions, all our concerns are human concerns. So I have been maintaining, my interest has been about the human body and how life shows up when our human body is maintained well enough. It's taken a long time for a human body to be evolved into the shape and size and the civilization as we have it, including the United Nations and World Health Organization, collating the WHO's the list of diseases. And we are all in different stages of working to go beyond the list of diseases. So we are having a healthy, wealthy, wise economy. And I thought I have this means of taking care of my health. So the more I'm going to be, I thought I'll share it on a calendar, put it on a calendar, and then regularly visit it. And then I put up that calendar on my website, www.dynamicstillnesses.com, on the page named Dailies, on which is the calendar for this month. And today's date is what's mentioned as abdomen Garhapathya. Now, that's a calendar which I made some time back. At that time, I used to call this part of the body as Garhapathya. Okay? Over time, I have come to see, I didn't do a live this morning, so I'm making a correction now. Garhapathya is your own personal internal combustion engine, so to speak, your own bodily make and the diet you need to maintain for your life to run the way it needs to. Now, what is one man's food is another man's poison, if you've heard that. So, every stage of life requires you to have the food that most suits you. As a kid, you ate different things. As an adult, you eat different things. Seniors, different age groups. No, morning, afternoon, evening, we eat different things. And then different people at different stages of life. When you're stressed, you eat different things. When you're a little happy, you're celebrating something. You want to eat something else because your body requires something that is complementary to a celebratory mood experience. Um, and you don't eat celebratory food all the time. So, diet that is more suitable to your compositional make is what I also call as Garhapathya. And then when the digestion is sufficient enough, sometimes you eat what is served, or if you can't cook, somebody then serves, or you eat in a restaurant, or sometimes you eat stuff which, well, it's called food. You don't have a choice, and you eat it. And then what happens? Do you digest that food well enough? then what happens to your body? It's like you put petrol in a diesel vehicle, and then the vehicle digests that fuel. Yeah. Well, I had to give that analogy. But the thing is, your body may sometimes be eating baby food or senior citizen food or happy food when you're not exactly feeling so happy. And if that's going to be remaining in your body, Ayurveda calls it as ajirne bhojanam visham. That is, indigested food staying in your body, forming toxins. And then that gives you disease at least. And if you continue to maintain your health with suboptimal food or food that you haven't been able to digest, including but not limited to food for experience, food for thought, food for emotions, over and above the food that you put into your body as food for stomach. And stuff digested well enough versus not. And then what that does to your health, your state of well-being, your beability, your doability. You may be squirming inside, but your silence is not really silence because you're basically sometimes also screaming because you are putting up with life as is and you're not inclined to go cook either. And then you have what you have. We are also the food we eat or how we eat it. Yeah. And when we are not paying attention to those very important details, it becomes like a vehicle that runs on petrol being fed with diesel. Yeah. Now, which is why I have been recommending to at least cook one meal a day for yourself, because you would be supplying the food that suits you with your own hands or with the means that you can feed yourself. Now, Garhapathya. According to my calendar, that's what I've named it, but this is a region, now what you call as the 6-pack or 8-pack region, kind of. Not exactly the intestines. You're not approaching the belly button, but it's kind of below the solar plexus, but not exactly the belly button. Okay? Kind of the 6-pack, 8-pack. People tend to work on this area. But that's why I tended to call it as Garhapathya. I used to call it as Ga point. And then I thought, okay, this is what Garhapathya, but then history and her story has a certain influence on this region. Yeah. And some of the existential angst is also because of how this region of the body is maintained. Okay. Which is why sometimes people also go to the gym and try and work out their 6-pack and 8-packs. Yeah. To spare it and square it and then make it through life. Or be good enough, look so muscular enough that you look healthy. Yeah. And inside you could be putty. No, no, no. You're working out your muscles. So you are healthy, right? Because the mirror also says you're healthy. Yeah. So our definition of health has been needing a little re-examination since some time, but we have our own versions. We have our own theory of everything. No, no. Those who have paid attention to their life story and the theory of everything is this is how everything works. Or this is why everything is there. You have your idea of why God is there. Yeah. Or you have your idea of why the country is there or why humans are there in existence. Um, some even say humans are sinners. I, for example, think humans are a blessing on the planet. So each of us have our own theory of everything, why everything is there and how things work. So our own life stories, our own outlooks, our own views of life, which also makes the weave of our body. Our body is like a topology of the life as lived. And the story of life also makes the weave that's our body, which has also been called the Vedas. So we have a the Vedas are not really written about animals, plants. They are referring, affecting human existence too, human affairs. So um, over time, I found that a human body is itself made up of so many kinds of weaves, at least 4. It's been called the Muladhara, but a body at least has 4 sides, front, left and right sides, back. And then we have the rooftop, the top of the head, and the soles of our feet. So it's at least basics, 6 sides, basics. And we may not be very familiar with the basics of our own human body composition. And so we may be regarding ourselves as, oh, me, I'm just a part of the whole collective, just a part of the family. Earth is part of the solar system family. And we are still looking for somebody like Earth, yeah, with signs of life. And we've been looking at signs of life or Earth-like somebody out there in the universe in some time, yeah. So we are a privileged lot, yeah. So I'm bringing attention to some salient features about our human body, which evolved over time on the same planet Earth who supports life, yeah. And I discovered over time that human beings are designed to enliven life in the multiverse. Okay? So taking care of the stories, that's the weave of our body, and the six-pack, eight-pack region, which is also the Gar point. I call it as Gar point because we work out that area. Those who work out that area, those who go to the gym and work out that area I tend to call it as history and her story. Yeah. And somebody kind of punches you, not exactly the solar plexus region, below here, it kind of hurts. Well, you can get punched anywhere and it'll still hurt. But here is where you kind of hold it in. Yeah. And then you crouch, sit in front of your computer and then work your work, or you do your work. And this is kind of a little bit like the underbelly. If you were an animal on four limbs, this would be your underbelly. Yeah. And the solar plexus is just above, and this region, something happens. Yeah. It's a pretty interesting area because when you're this is also about the region where you have the duodenum and the region below it. Yeah. Um, Ileum, jejunum. So jejunum and then ileum. So these are three parts of the small intestine. Duodenum being the first, then there's jejunum, and then there's ileum. And what happens when food reaches this jejunum part is like it goes into a little bit of a sleep. Yeah. People tend to have this after meal sleep. That's because food goes to this region and there's a different set of digestive processes that happens. The story of your life also there's a different mechanism that happens here where where food goes into little contemplative matters, I think. Yeah. How's the anatomy of it? It's pretty interesting. If you've not really healed through your traumatic experiences, or let's just say primal cry. Yeah, primal cry would be somewhere about this region. If you've not, you can look it up on Google what a primal cry is. But if you've not really gotten in touch with this area of your body, your life in some way you haven't really met life. Or I can't say fire in the belly. It's more like this sound in the belly. No, the existential, but you haven't felt an aspect of life. Yeah, that sometimes stuff happens and you simply want to scream. Yeah, but if you scream, you'll sound like ferocious. Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is you have this area of your body which you need to regularly take care of because your story is having a certain substance. Yeah, something happens, an existential something happens, and people go six-pack, eight-pack, yeah, working on it. But that's not the thing. The thing is, what is that they are not able to reach? It's kind of like you have an itch you can't scratch. Yeah. And this area about the jejunum also, I may be a little off there about the anatomical thing, but I do know when I keep paying attention to my body in terms of what happens when I eat, when I breathe, when I sleep. So my my body is my favorite vacation spot. Yeah. So I live with my life partner. Yeah. You have a body that's human, basically your friend, your family member, your life partner all through life. Yeah. You have a life because you have a body that's human, and a live one. So I have a beautiful relationship with my body. So I keep paying attention to what happened when I eat food. So food here goes here and goes off to sleep. Yeah. Or rather kind of does a little contemplation. And then goes then after certain contemplation, then a little bit of and then goes to the ilium. Yeah. So it's a little bit of a deep um, thinking, no, deep becoming. Yeah. And then goes to the ilium and further processing. Yeah. So a lot of stories happen here according to how you maintain health of this region. His story and her story, your story, my story, my story. Very, very important. You go exercising won't really uh, touch what this area makes available. As like you're going to a lake, yeah, and you don't know there is depth in the lake. Just surface or just here. You can keep adjusting, working on your muscles, but you don't get it. It's like you're eating a good meal, but don't really get to the depth of it. You know there is something about the meal, but you don't really get it. You just haven't touched a certain thing about it. Yeah, a certain the bottom of it. No, it's not even the bottom. Yeah, a little difficult to explain. Yeah, primal cry, a little. You can't say mystery. It is just a girth, a certain depth. It's not depth. It's a certain substance which you haven't been able to get in touch with about your own self, about your life. Otherwise, you're living life or something like it. Kind of. At least if you're writing it, and you sometimes have this a little thing in your gut. Yeah. That's also because of, so there are many, many parts of your gut. Gut is also called the intestines. But your solar plexus also could have a little, this moment. And this ga point also could have this moment. Yeah. So you don't know where or if which instinct, no, which gut instinct you're having a moment with. If you're not aware of your body, you don't know what is ruling your life. At least this live is going to have you think a little more about your own body. I would be doing some good work. And in a way that you're gentle, kind, mindful, appreciative, yeah, of your own body's language. Your body sometimes gives a little this moment, yeah. So you don't know if you're hungry or if you're having a ga point moment or if you're having your intestines are going a little gulu gulu. Yeah, but if you can't feel that and there's a certain a certain sound, you don't know where the sound is coming from. From your stomach because it's empty, or is it from your intestines, or from different parts of your body? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ga point between the navel, belly button, and your solar plexus. Now, where's the solar plexus? Solar plexus is below your diaphragm. Yeah, diaphragm is a low. It's about the lower portion of your rib cage, and then the entire network system, um, traffic junction between your arteries, nerves, veins, um, tubes, including food tube. Yeah, and that then supplies your pancreas, your liver, your duodenum, your stomach, your spleen, kidneys, all of that is about the region of the solar plexus. And then you have the ga point, which is about the second portion of the jejun, the small intestines. And also there's this large intestine, certain portions, uh, left and right sides. Yeah. And then you have your small intestines doing their little noodly stuff. Therefore, when there is existential angst, when there is digestion happening well enough, then they do their noodly stuff. When they are not doing well enough, or there's a certain your mesentery is having a moment inside, then these noodles do a different stuff. Your small intestine, large intestine, they do a different kind of movement. No matter what you do, your body will always move because your body is designed to move. When you're aware of what's the movement happening, yeah, then when you're more in sync with your body, when you're more aware of your body, then um, then you have a partnership. You're dancing with life, yeah, because your body then becomes a sensor system. Like you have a radio. Your radio picks up signals, and then you have the certain music you have to play or what you can listen to. So your sensory system, your body is also a sensory system. It picks up information. So your intestines, your point, your different parts of your body, your skin, all over your body, you have your skin, which is one organ for feeling. Okay. And then you have your eyes and nose and ears and tongue, taste. So seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting. For feeling, you have the whole body. And then knowing is also a function of the nervous system, but there are other fine details. It's a little more complex sense. So 6 senses. You have your whole body to feel. Yeah. You're like one whole sense organ, skin. And then skin has many, many layers inside your body. The heart also has a skin. The lungs also have a skin. Abdomen has a skin. Different organ system, they are in their own packages. They're all skin. So your intestines also can feel some things, which then communicates to you when you are aware of your body. Otherwise, it's like you have a super system that also informs you about conscious, subconscious, unconscious, superconscious processes, and you don't pay attention to signals. What happens when you're on the road? Yeah. And you're not paying attention to left, right. You need to pay attention to left, right. And you have an internal system to let you know what's happening around you, picking up signals from where you don't really know where the signals are being picked up from. Okay. It could also be from your conscience giving you a little prick. Yeah. Saying that you have to be getting back to your work and not just watching that video. If you follow that conscience prick, then you would do well in life, or rather, you would meet a target which is not otherwise possible. And then you would meet a milestone not otherwise possible. Yeah. So when you're paying attention to these different signals, including these different movements in your body, and that's the body's own language. When you pay attention to body's language, the body talks not by words, but by different kinds of sensations. And then when you're paying attention to, you tend to be crossing your hands, or you tend to be just scratching your nose, those are additional information for your own self to know your own conscious, subconscious, unconscious, superconscious processes. Other people will make their own meanings about what you do, about what you're doing when you cross your hands. People are meaning making machines. They make their own meanings. And then there is, your own stuff when you're familiar with your own body's language. Conscious, subconscious, unconscious, superconscious processes. And then you can have the fun with that person made that meaning about this posture of your body. Yeah. Who entertainment guaranteed. Lots of entertainment by how people interpret body language. It is so much fun. It's just like how people interpret diseases. This disease is because of these reasons. While they are still, recalibrating algorithms on what is actually a disease and why we have diseases and what does it take to cure it. We have several methods of healthcare, and we have diseases, and we're all on the same planet Earth. It's a human concern, and we're in different stages of figuring out why we have diseases. And then I discovered, for example, that the human body is made up of primary respiration and secondary respiration. And the respiration by the movement of our lungs is what I call as secondary respiration. The respiration that a body is alive by while in the mother's womb, which continues also outside. When the lungs are not functioning in the mother's womb, it's called a primary respiration. And outside the body, without the mother's connection through the umbilical cord, we need to maintain being alive from how the primary respiration relates to secondary respiration. And that a lot of people don't know is also what's called as yoga or integration. Otherwise, we are praying to God and don't know where God is. It's also called Jivatma and Paramatma. Now, this gets into esoterics, but the story, the existential angst of our lives is also in some way held by this primal Ga area. Oh, I would call it Ga. But yeah, gi, when people were in martial arts, they wear a gi. All right, I have tend to call this. Maybe I should call it the primal area. No. It's from inside. Yeah. But six pack, eight pack area, I will think about another. You can recognize this. Six pack area, yeah, basics. Well, I know six pack. So six pack area rather than Garhapathya or Ga point. Six pack area. You will kind of stay with that because at least historically, yeah, you would at least recognize this area. All right, not necessarily the solar plexus region. Okay. How do we maintain health of this region? By the Nirbeeja Yoga style, where you don't even move a muscle. Yeah. I invite you to bring your attention to the sides of your abdomen while you're seated on a chair with your knees at a 90-degree angle to your feet, which is placed flat on the ground, with you being able to rest your back on the back of the chair and being able to place your arms on the armrest. Yeah. So that allows for your skeletal framework, your muscular structure to be relaxed with the chair holding the weight of your body. So you don't have to hold up your life by your muscles being all tense. Your chair can allow for your muscles to be. And then to pay attention to what movement your bodies are already making, because a human body is designed to move. Heart is beating, you are not making your heart beat. Lungs expand, contract. Different digestion is happening in your digestive system. You are not making them work. So there are voluntary and involuntary processes. Human body is designed to move, and so movement is happening. So in this chair, Abraham Lincoln chair posture, where you can allow the chair to hold the weight of your body, the weight of your life, it becomes easier for you to pay attention to movement that's happening inside your body, voluntary and involuntary. So once you get a little more familiar with the movements that's natural to your body, which may not be typical to somebody else. Because if you're having a little stomach moment where you ate something not so good, your stomach is making different movements than anybody else who's not having the stomach problem. Yeah. So there's no standard model here. This is, at this point in time, this is how your body is moving, your body is behaving. And then there are things you can do, for example, Nirbeeja Yoga, which requires you to pay attention to the sides of your abdomen. So bring your attention to the sides of your abdomen, maintaining health of the Ga point, a six-pack point. Yeah. Now, bring your attention to the sides of your abdomen in terms of warmth, in terms of softness. So notice any sense of softness about the sides of your abdomen. And one of the things you may notice when you pay attention to softness is a gentle movement of your abdomen corresponding with your movement of your chest. As your chest expands and contracts when you're breathing, your abdomen moves in a particular manner, which may not be the same way as that of your chest. Because your chest has lungs, and lungs expand and contract, so your body moves, your chest moves differently. Your abdomen does not have the rib cage, yeah, but it has the intestines. So the intestines and the abdominal region moves differently than the chest because different parts of the body have different internal organs. They don't move the same way. Okay. Also, abdomen has only the spine as a bony structure. The chest has rib cage and spine. Yeah. And on top is the shoulder girdle. So abdomen moves differently. A lot of soft tissue about the abdomen. So when you pay attention to the sides of your abdomen in terms of softness, you are likely to notice different kinds of movement. There is intestine inside, there's the skin, there's the muscles, there are arteries, veins, many, many things. When you pay attention to softness, bring your attention all the way from the lower portion of your rib cage all the way to the top of your pelvis. That's the entire abdominal girth. Okay. or at least bring your attention from the lower portion of your rib cage to to the region about your belly button, because that's about that's the solar plexus plus the six-pack point. Yeah. And notice any sense of movement. Now, I may be repeating myself, but it takes a while to pay attention to the kind of movement your abdomen is making when you pay attention to warmth and softness. And that's something I said which is not very familiar. When you're paying attention to your abdomen in terms of warmth and softness, your abdomen moves differently than when you're not. Your awareness makes a difference in how your abdomen moves. Chances are, when you pay attention to softness and are noticing different layers of movement or different kinds of softness, the different tissues in your abdomen are a little more coordinated. Chances are your nervous system and your muscles are a little more hand in glove because they are more appreciated. You're more paying attention to what is there about your abdomen, or rather, how is your abdomen? So your nervous system may be more hand in gloves with your muscles and arteries and skin and different fine little details, like buddies in a field, department people, all kind of saying hello to each other. When you're paying attention to warmth and softness, and paying attention to the kind of movement your abdomen is making while you're paying attention to warmth and softness. Now, if this gets you a little tense, if this gets you irritated because I'm using the same words over and over, that allows you the opportunity to bring attention to your ears, because your ears are part of the same body, but your ears, your chest, your abdomen may not be talking to each other well enough. When you hear repeated words, your nervous system, the sound processing information, sound processing part of your body, ears, may be going a little dissociated. So bring attention to your ears in terms of warmth, softness, and any sense of relaxation. We are like having four parts of the body, and they're like four kinds of brains. They may not be talking to each other. Okay? So paying attention to your abdomen may be unfamiliar. So bring attention, okay, in terms of warmth and softness and movement. So your brain may be feeling a little left out. Yeah? And especially when I'm using repeated words. So bring your attention to your ears and notice any sense of relaxation in your ears and any sense of warmth, softness. Your ears have soft tissues, not like teeth, hard. So pay attention to softness, any sense of relaxation, and then pay attention to softness, warmth about the sides of your chest, and then pay attention to warmth and softness about the sides of your abdomen. So we're kind of integrating, so to speak, including three brains. We are not talking about the pelvis right now, so we're only going to go with the three brains. Yeah, three parts of the body. People keep saying the brain doesn't talk to the heart. Well, a little dyssynchrony. This may be one of the reasons. Yeah, you may not be listening to your own body or paying attention to your body. It's a kind of listening or listing, kind of. Mainframe, head, neck, shoulder girdle, rib cage, your abdomen, spine, yeah, and your pelvis. For an alive human being, this is the basic mainframe, plus or minus limbs, yeah. And we have the body we have depending on what's the department we are born into and what's the job we are born to do. So there's a reason why we are all born. There's a purpose for being born. And we have the body structure required to do the work we have. Yeah. And we're having a human job to do. The others will be born as amoeba or any other animals or plants. Now, regularly taking care of your human body's space suit, time suit, yeah, allows for you to have time well enough to do the work that you are born for, which is also including, but which is born, which is to and live in life in the multiverse. You doing well, people around you doing well, future generations doing well, their future generations doing well, by how you take care of your life partner. Yeah. And all of them need to talk to each other. Head needs to talk to chest, needs to talk to abdomen, needs to talk to pelvis, needs to, yeah, they, at least four. May the force be with you. F-O-U-R-S, not necessarily F-O-R-C. There's also force. What for are you? That way also be the force be with you. Yeah. If you're not aware of what for are you living, that will help. It would help, or you would be helped by writing down in a journal what ideas come to you when you're participating in these lives. Because by the by, you would come to what's the for that you are in existence, that you are born for. Yeah, what's the reason for your existence? You will come to it by the by as you start writing, as the weaves all come together. The head brain, chest brain, abdomen brain, pelvis brain all come online and are functioning as one unit. Then you will also become a little more familiar with your primal drive. Yeah, your internal drive also. But do take time to write in your journal. You would be so much more better. Yeah. And you would be minding your own business, or rather minding your own body, or minding your own body and life. Mind and body are all related. This is how mind and body are related. And you have a life, one life, your body being the topography of the life you live. And you take care of your mind and body and life. And you just have to live one life in many departments and many, many things that you do. All that you have to do is manage information in such a way that you're not information overwhelm. No, you just have to manage one life. One life, many departments, many interests. You just have to manage your information. Yeah. And then you would be less tense, less stressed, less juggling with things. When you are more managed, yeah, you are having your life and more sorted out and more in order. Oh, that's so nice, really. Like, there's this uh, black body, so to speak, black hole, the center of a galaxy. Once your life is all sorted out, life is just like that. It is, we will cover all of those details later. But if your brain and chest and abdomen and pelvis, if you can at least feel you're part of one unit, you're still doing better. Yeah, at least you have four areas. May the force be with you. F-O-U-R-S. Now, on that note, I will pause for now. We don't want to do too much. Yeah. Enjoy the nice moment, nice little moment. Yeah. When you can pay attention to your warmth, softness, and sense of relaxation about the force of your life. Yeah. Slowly, we'll come to a better place. You will come to a better place. Yeah. And do take time to write, because writing has taken a long time for that unicellular amoeba to then learn how to write. Humans can do that. Yeah. Monkeys also haven't figured that out. You, being human, if you don't know to write, go to school. That's a human faculty. That's a human economy, benefits, civilization, a lot of details. So do take time to write or learn to write, and you would do better as a human, as a humane human being. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has been of value to you. Good day.